So my first stab at guessing the amount of area wasn't so hot. But how can I do better? Before, I had these rectangles underneath the function, and they told me that there was at least 35 units of area that I'm interested in. I also had these other rectangles that were larger than the function. They cover up the function plus a little bit more. And those rectangles added up together told me that I had 60 units of area, but I know that that's too much. And there's a lot of wiggle room between those numbers. So how can I nail it down a little bit better? Well, if I think about it, what I really care about here is, well, I want to make a good guess. So maybe I can get a better guess by shaving off this extra stuff, right? Maybe I can get a better guess if I have more rectangles. So here's a picture. I have more rectangles now, and I just completely cut off this extra corner here that didn't need to be there. So now the amount of area I get for these rectangles and adding them all up will be much closer to the actual value of the area that I care about. And same for the rectangles underneath. If I draw more of them, I can make that part of the picture more accurate as well. And there's not really a reason I have to stop with this many rectangles. I mean, well, there kind of is, because I had to add up 5 rectangles before. For this picture, I'd have to add up 10 of them. For this picture, 15, and so on. But it looks like I'm getting better approximations. And here are my pictures from above as well. So it looks like whichever way I go, I get better approximation by taking more rectangles, though that means more work for me. But the error term, how much am I off here? What's the difference between those red rectangles and those black rectangles? That'd be these right here, right? So this blue area is how much the two different estimates disagree from one another, at least on this parabola. And I can see that the further I go, the smaller the error gets to be. So I'm picking my parameter k here, controls the number of rectangles. There will be exactly k rectangles between 0 and 1. So what if I could take lots of rectangles? Right, so here's 5 rectangles. Here's 50 rectangles. Here's 40 times 5. Here's 200 rectangles. Well, I can actually hardly see the area, right? The error term at this point. I'd have to zoom in to see that that's not just a funny blue line. If I zoom in further, I see that I do have an error term, or rather that I do have only an approximation, not the correct exact figure of that area. But, you know, in theory, I could just keep making rectangles. Here's the picture with 500 rectangles. And now it looks like I get, you know, I'm a little ways off, but I can't even tell at my default zoom level. So something that gets better the bigger a number is. Something that gets better the more rectangles that I have. Something that gets to be a better approximation the farther I go, but there's nothing stopping me from, there's no reason I have to stop at exactly 500 rectangles. This should sound familiar. What could it be?